Welcome to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. And to our viewers at home, if you're watching us for the very first time today, well, I tell you what, we're going to have a lot of fun. And this show is about properly planning for your retirement years. No matter where you are in the retirement circle, if you will, this show will benefit you. So thank you for being with us today. Greg, how are you today?
Fabulous.
Good.
Yes.
I thought you were going to sing it. Fabulous.
Fabulous.
I love it. Kristen, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. Well, I would love to jump in today's show with just doing a really fun fact. I mean, I think it's actually kind of startling. So to our viewers at home, you don't want to miss this. This is a study commissioned by Vision Direct. They have found that the average, now remember, that's the average U.S. adult will spend the equivalent of 44 years of their life staring at screens. 44 years. What do you think about that statistic, Kristen?
It's humbling, right? And I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to start out the show being very vulnerable. I spend, on average, I looked it up on my screen time, 4 hours a day on my screen. And that's just on my phone. Now, I do most of my work on my phone. I'm just easier to grab your phone and check your email real quick. But that's a lot.
It is, but I'm higher than you. Yes. I hate to admit that, but I just have to be honest. I'm constantly on my phone. Even my husband, Tony, will tease me like, honey, seriously, put your phone away, put it down, put it down. Sometimes you just can't help it. Or if you're even waiting somewhere, even at a red light, sometimes I'll find myself, oh, do I have any emails? So it's crazy. It's addicting.
Well, it's everywhere, really. I mean, but it's your phone, it's your computer, it's your iPad, it's your television, it's everything. But think about it. I mean, most people, their work is computers.
Hold on. You didn't say your screen time, though. You didn't share with the class. Share with the class. What's your screen time?
Mine averages about an hour and a half a day.
What? That's all?
I know, but that's just his phone. I actually was going to check his phone. I should do it on the show, but I don't want to be distracting. But I think it's higher than that because he's on his computer, and he just showed me the screen for his phone. So I think with the computer,
I'm in computer all day with clients, yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot higher than we all think it is.
Phone time and iPad time about an hour and a half.
But my kids get on it. If I nag them about something, they'll grab my phone and pull up the screen time and go, Mom, what's this? What's this? What's this? And I'm like, okay, whatever. You know?
Who does that the most, Cameron?
You know, you knew it. You high five. You knew it.
I just guessed.
Yes.
Sorry, Cameron. I love you.
Yes.
I just had it.
The smart aleck of the three. Yes. It's Cameron. But you know what Greg nags the most about?
I don't know. But tell me.
Roth conversions.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And so we get a lot of calls about those.
You do get a lot of calls.
I would tell you what she nags about, but we don't have as much time.
Oh,
so no, I'm kidding.
I love it. Well, Roth conversions, yes. And obviously, you've had a call recently that came in, Greg, talking to a CPA about the benefits of a Roth conversion. So if you're watching for the first time, you have to know that Greg is passionate about Roth conversions. So were you in heaven talking about Roth conversions with a CPA?
A CPA of all people, right?
A CPA.
Actually, the couple came in a few months ago, or a couple months ago, I guess it was, and they were both CPAs. But they were corporate CPAs, and so we did get to talking about it and all the things that are fun about talking about taxes, if there is anything fun talking about taxes. But they're corporate CPAs, so they deal more with the accounting side. And here's what they opened up and said. They said, look, we understand accounting. We don't understand retirement planning. And it really intrigued them that we kept talking about taxes, you know, that I'm always teaching about taxes and kind of griping about taxes. And they said, you know, taxes to us are a big deal because we want to retire in 3 years and we want to feel confident in our decision to be able to retire. And so I asked them, I said, tell me about yourself, tell me about your story, tell me about what's important to you. And they really dug in, and I was so thankful they were willing to open up and share special things about their family that were important to them, places they like to go, trips they like to take, special fun things they do with their grandchildren, all those things which were just really, really interesting to me. other important things like being able to retire in 3 years. This was a big one.
Absolutely.
And so when you start to hear about people's dreams and their vision for what retirement would look like and what's truly important to them, they said, you know, with what's happened in our country with all the debt that we have, we really believe that taxes could really go up in the future in order to help us pay our debt as a country. Because understand, folks, the U.S. debt, that debt doesn't belong to the government. That debt belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to Cynthia, it belongs to Kristen, it belongs to all of us. It's our debt.
Absolutely.
We owe it. The government is just kind of the ones that collect the money and distribute it, and hopefully they do the right things with it.
Yeah.
And all of those things, they said it scares us to death to think that the money that we're sending in could be mismanaged in such a way that it's been, that it really does. And so we worry about being able to do the things we want to do in retirement. Now, this couple had saved about $2.5 million. So it's not like they didn't save, but they want to do a lot of things. So, and if you want to do a lot of things, guess what? It costs a lot of money.
Of course.
And then the husband opened up as we got in and he said, you know, I hate to admit this, but in 2020, I went to cash with all my investments.
Wow.
He said, you know, I never felt confident to get back in.
Wow.
Now, the wife, she said, well, I didn't do that. You know?
Yeah.
So when wives are right, aren't they sure to let us know that?
We are sure to tell you.
Yes, they
And we're
are.
usually quite subtle about it as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
I don't know if I'm subtle. You're very good about
Kristen
that.
is
You're a
not
good
subtle.
example of what a wife should be like.
Oh, you're so sweet.
You're an
That would
awesome
be
wife,
you.
but you do remind me of things. Yeah. So
she stayed in the market, but he went all to
he
cash.
went all to cash.
Okay.
So as we're digging through this, we realized, okay, their hang-ups weren't stock market volatility. The hang-ups weren't necessarily taxes. The hang-ups were they weren't going to be able to do what they wanted to do. That was the problem. So that really got me to thinking about what is the purpose of a written retirement plan. And it just hit me as I was sitting there talking to this couple, and when we finished the appointment, I went back to my office, I wrote some things down because I didn't want to miss it. And that was, you know, my job isn't to really, yes, we do portfolio x-rays, and it's my job to help people understand the weeds behind why their portfolios are performing or they're not performing. But that's not really my job. My job is to help them understand where the weaknesses are, because those are obstacles or roadblocks, if you will, to what it is they're actually trying to achieve. So it's not whether or not the portfolio is efficient per se. It's that an efficient portfolio gives you a better opportunity to do the things you want to do. Being efficient with taxes gives you a better opportunity to do the things you want to do. Whatever that means for each and every family, those things are different, but the importance of being able to do it is the same for everybody.
Absolutely.
So my job isn't to try to wow someone with knowledge or you know, some fancy tool I have, or you know, and I love the tools that I work with. You know, I geek out on that sometimes, and that's fun, and that's all well, but that's not my purpose. My purpose is to help people feel confident that they can bridge the gap from the things that can hinder their success to the things they want to do. And the way you do that is by becoming more consistent, more efficient with risks that you're taking, with the income you need, with the taxes you're going to pay, with the healthcare struggles that you may face later on in life, and ultimately with whatever you want to leave to the next generation. Being able to accomplish all that you want to accomplish as efficiently as possible, that is our job.
Yeah.
And designing a plan that's going to benefit everyone.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where they are in life.
Yes.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, you're probably sitting in the viewing audience today. You're asking yourself, do I have any idea what my tax implications will be in the future if I don't take action today? As you can see, what I find was so fascinating was that if CPAs are coming in to ask Greg and Kristen some questions, if you will, about Roth conversions and proper tax planning, well, shouldn't we all be doing that? And how do you do that? visit testmyretirement.com. This is a very simple website that you can go to. You put in a few bits of information, and you will see what your tax implications could be and what they could look like if you plan properly and you take action. Is a Roth conversion right for you? Well, we don't know until you put some of your information in. It doesn't take a lot of time. And I think you'll be surprised and you'll be pleased to learn that you can make a step in the right direction today. But you have to do one thing. Go to testmyretirement.com. Also, you can call in to 614-336-7660. You can claim time with Greg and Kristen. Let them get to know you one-on-one. What are your goals, your dreams, and your wants for retirement? Let them design a plan that's going to suit your needs. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. I have so much more on Winning Retirement TV with Greg and Kristen Taylor.
Living a life is building a legacy of milestones, your first home, raising your children, becoming grandparents, and memories. From the first steps across the living room floor to the walk down the aisle, at every stage, your family is the most important part of your life, and you want to protect them now and in the future. Which is why the decisions you make today are so important. You've worked hard to provide a better life for your loved ones. Now is the time to make sure that lasts. Build a legacy that will influence generations to come. Plan smart. Retire well with Legacy Retirement Group.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we're talking all about things related to your retirement years. We talked about taxes, and we're going to keep going in this segment. So this is great. We actually had a gentleman who watches the show quite regularly call in. He wants a second opinion. He's a widower with around $2 million in assets. He has no debt, and he wants to ensure that he can maintain his lifestyle with minimal risk. How can he accomplish that? Minimal risk.
Well, you have to ask yourself, what kind of risk are you talking about? Because there's stock market volatility risk, there is inflation risk, there's liquidity risk, there's tax risk, there's all these risks that we face. There's healthcare risks, all these things. So it's impossible to eliminate every single risk.
That's such a good point.
So what we try to do, Cynthia, is mitigate our risks.
Okay.
So how do we mitigate the healthcare risk? Well, we make sure that we're properly covered in each area, whether it be for our doctor visits, our hospital stays, or if we need some sort of long-term home health care or assisted living or nursing care in the future, making sure that we've got a plan in place. And that doesn't necessarily always mean that you buy insurance for it, but it means you have a proper plan. Whether it's market risk. Now, there's a couple of ways to mitigate market risk. We have a few clients that absolutely want not a single dime in the market.
Okay.
If they lost 50 cents, they would be mad as a hornet at us. So we don't, if that's their position, we honor that position, right? Because it's all about them, it's not about us. And so there's ways to mitigate stock market volatility risk by either having a portfolio designed to be more consistent for those who want to stay in the stock market but don't want to take those big losses. Mm-hmm. There are some things called protected growth assets and things called protected income assets. Because really, if you boil assets down into two primary categories, you have assets where your principal is protected, you have assets where your principal is at risk.
Okay.
There's usually a formula that people are comfortable with. In other words, I have a very few families that want all their money in the market. They want every dime in the market. They want to take advantage of the best possible returns without real worry about volatility. That's not the majority, but we have some. As I mentioned earlier, we have some who want absolutely no market volatility. And then most everyone else is in the middle.
Right. And I mean, I think it's important to point out here in this gentleman's case, he was interested mostly in making sure his lifestyle could be maintained. So, i.e., he had income, right?
Yes,
That's what
yes.
that means. And so many of the calls we get from the show every week are of that same vein, but there's different nuances to it. In this case, he was a widower,
Yes,
I believe.
with $2 million in assets.
Yes, but I met with a lady recently who is single, has always been single, and her main concern was totally different. It was based on how that she's able to leave money to charity. Now, she wants to be sure her income is set. That's tight. That's in place. But she wants to know that she can give moving forward to the charity that is most important and dear to her heart.
I love that.
And so what we have to do when we're sitting down with these families is really understand them personally.
Yes.
And, you know, no one wants to go into an appointment thinking it's going to be a psychology couch and touchy-feely, right? That's not what I'm saying. It's more that we need to understand what's making you tick so that we can understand how to move forward with proper planning to get to your goals. Because at the end of the day, like Greg said, that's what it's all about, is getting to where you want to be so that you can live a comfortable and confident retirement. And so with this lady, you know, she didn't like market risk at all. Like Greg was just mentioning, we have some clients like that. But she wanted to make sure she had enough for income and could continue giving throughout the years without worrying that that would impede on her income needs. And so that's a totally different plan than
Yes.
someone that doesn't care about necessarily leaving money to a charity and wanting growth and high potential in the stock market, right? Those are
Absolutely.
two different situations that you have to be cognizant of as you're planning.
Absolutely.
And you know, I want to address this, you know, that thought of a second opinion.
Yeah.
If you go to 10 places, you'll get 10 opinions. So it's not really about opinion, it's more about facts. And drilling down on where you actually stand and compare that to where you want to be. You know, if I'm on 23 going north, but yet I want to go to Chillicothe, there's a problem. All right? Chillicothe,
Going the wrong direction.
I'm going the opposite direction. That's right. That doesn't help me at all. I'm on the wrong path. So people need to understand, first of all, am I on the right path? Are there some potholes on my path? Do I need to be aware of those? And how can I fix them? And how does that help me? This is a key. How does that help me get to reaching my goals? And no
Yes.
matter who you work with, make sure that you have someone that's in your corner that, number one, explains where you are and why you can know where you are, understand where you want to be, and crafts a plan that gives you the confidence you need to actually get there.
Well, I think a lot of people in the viewing audience are probably asking themselves right now, okay, but how much do I pay for this? So I have to be clear. You don't actually charge for the testmyretirement.com, the visit to that website, nor do you charge for the portfolio x-ray. You've always kept that as complimentary. Why?
First of all, we want it to be easy for people to reach out. You know, if I have to decide, okay, it's going to cost me $500 for this report, or it's going to cost me $1,000 for this report, now I have to ask myself, is there really value in that? So we want it to be easy for people to reach out. We want it to be a resource. Second of all, is that report going to help me? Thirdly, we want people to be able to make adjustments and be able to have a plan that's suited for them. That's really a key right there. And we want people to know, is there anything standing between them and their goals? Because that's really the bottom line. And if so, what is it? Is it that there's too much volatility in their account? They need to know it. Is it they're facing too many taxes in the future, possibly? Is it that they don't have a protected income plan that will provide the lifestyle they're wanting to live? All those things are important to know.
Absolutely, Greg. Thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, there's a number on your screen to call. That number is 614-336-7660. If you're in the viewing audience today and you're unsure of how much risk you're actually taking in your portfolio, wouldn't you benefit from the Portfolio X-ray? Let Greg and Kristen do a deep dive into what you currently have, and are you taking too much risk? And if you are, wouldn't you want to know that today? This is your opportunity. It's completely complimentary, 614-336-7660. Or if you're running out the door and you don't have a pen handy, we've made it even simpler. Grab your smartphone. You spend around 41 years on it. No, I'm kidding. The average American. Grab your smartphone, click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That takes you right to the landing page for Legacy Retirement Group, and you can claim your spot accordingly. Remember, completely complimentary, no obligation whatsoever. This is for the Portfolio X-ray, or if you want to just test your tax liability, go to testmyretirement.com. That's also complimentary. Once again, 614-336-7660. We'll be right back after this very short commercial break.
Think your retirement savings are all yours? Well, think again. Your 401k, IRA, or pension comes with a tax bill from Uncle Sam, and it could be bigger than you expect. Would you like to find out how much? Our quick and easy tax calculator can show you right now. Just scan the QR code or visit testmyretirement.com to see your potential tax hit and how to plan around it.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we're talking all about things important for your retirement years. This is very interesting. A woman recently called Legacy Team with questions about taxes in retirement, along with interesting one that others may have. Will meeting with our team somehow alert her current advisor? Our team assured her that it would not be disclosed to her advisor unless she chooses to tell them. Are people nervous about that? Like when they schedule a consultation with you, like you're going to call, let's say Bob, and say, Bob, guess what? Sue was in today. I mean, is that something that you hear often?
Yeah, it is. And actually, typically, I don't know if you agree with this, but typically it's from women who ask that. Would you agree?
Yes,
I know we get some men that ask that, but women, I don't know if would you be worried about that?
I wouldn't even think to ask that question. I have to be honest. I don't think if I went in to meet with a new advisor, I would never think that person would pick up the phone and call the current one. I don't know. That's just me, though. I don't know. Maybe I'm different.
So I think when I've kind of tried to understand a little bit better where the question's coming from, a lot of times there's been a relationship built over the years. Mm-hmm. And in this case, I think it was the same thing, if I remember correctly. It's this relationship that they've had as they've been accumulating their money all these years. And now they've realized there's been some trigger to make them understand that retirement now is a fundamentally different season that they're in life, and that they maybe need to change. And so it's not personal, it's business.
True.
And I had the exact opposite experience recently. I was on a plane ride, and there's 3 to a row, and you never know who you're going to get, right, on a plane.
That's true.
And so Greg and I were already seated, and this dear woman came to sit by the window seat. And so we introduced ourselves to each other. You're sitting close. I'm a talker, so we got talking. And, asking what each other did. She was a physician that was traveling for some contract work, and I told her what we do. And she's like, "You're kidding me. I've been looking for a new advisor."
Wow.
And I said, "Oh, tell me a little bit about your story then. What's going on?" She said, "Well, I've worked with someone that I really love, a family friend, for years. And even after I moved, I continued working with him. And she said, I've worked with them for over 20 years, but I'm ready to start looking at retirement. And I just don't think that they're the advisor for me anymore. So I really was trying to find someone, reached out to a couple friends. They referred me to people, and those advisors didn't call me back. And I thought, well, that's strange. She said, I thought it was weird too. I usually call people back. And so we continued our conversation. And the thing that marked her reasoning for needing a transition, she said exactly what I say to people who are asking this question. Are they going to call? Are they going to know? She said, I am getting to the point where I'm ready to change jobs. I'm still a physician, but I'm doing it in a different way, traveling. I also started another business, which is really cool. I'll tell you about that off camera.
Okay.
But she's starting another business. Her husband is 10 years older than her, and he has a medical ailment. He's got Parkinson's.
Okay.
And so she sees the writing on the wall that she needs to do some things differently at this point. And she's like, honestly, I still like the person I work with, but I need something else now. And so that business idea of the relationship,
Yes.
she has totally separated from the personal side. And so I encourage people when we meet with them that if they're thinking, I'm not sure, they're a friend, they're a family friend, I've known them for 20 years, it's not personal, it's business. If you don't think they're giving you the value that you need at this point in your life, it's okay to make that change, and it's okay to reach out to them and say why you're changing, or it's okay to just not say anything. It's up to you. That's a personal decision.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I think sometimes, Cynthia, people need to know it's okay to search for another advisor if it's the appropriate thing. And you said something really smart there. You said,
Wait, what?
yes, I
I'm gonna
know.
I need to, someone tape it. Oh wait, we are taping, because he has a button that says "You're right, Greg" with my voice from our radio and podcast, and he plays it all the time.
Only when
That
you're
is
fussing
so
at me.
cute.
Carry on. I said
Yes.
something smart.
I
Go.
love it.
Yes, Kristen will be, this is hilarious. Kristen will be fussing at me about something, and Jaden will run to my room, grab that button, and bring it, and I'll hit it.
Yeah.
You're right, Greg.
Can you believe it? Yeah, go ahead. I'm smart. I said something smart.
Yes,
Go.
you did. Well, so first of all, you need to realize that if your current advisor doesn't specialize in the stage you are in life, it's okay to search for another advisor.
Yes.
In other words, if you've been with them 20, 25 years, but now you're in the retirement stage, well, that's a totally different stage. Do they understand Social Security? Do they understand Medicare? Do they understand how to take income in a more consistent way?
Yeah.
All those things.
Absolutely.
Do they talk to you regularly about future tax implications? Not just how much more can you defer this year, but what it might look like in the future. If not, it's okay to start looking for someone new. It really is. Or this one, they don't understand sequence of return risk. What is that? That is when you're taking money out consistently instead of putting money inconsistently.
Yeah.
It's a game changer. And if they don't understand that, how do you know if they understand? If they're saying things like, you've averaged 6% a year, if you pull out 4%, you'll never outlive your money. If they say things like that, then it proves that they don't understand sequence of return risk. So give yourself permission, folks. If you just aren't feeling comfortable about things, then reach out, get a portfolio x-ray, understand where you stand, and make sure that your plan is on track for reaching your goals.
That's what it comes down to,
It
is
is.
making sure that they're reaching their goals. Greg, thank you so much. And Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, most specifically, thank you for spending time with us today. That number to call is 614-336-7660. This is the perfect opportunity for you to have the complimentary consultation, the portfolio x-ray, the portfolio review. Take a look at where you currently are with your goals and dreams for retirement. And if you need to make a switch, today would be the day to do so. Again, 614-336-7660, or snap the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back 1 week from today on Winning Retirement TV with Greg and Kristen Taylor. Take care.